Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, Taking Down the Cheating President of the HOA. This happened years ago, 1985 to be exact. I was 45 when this happened, 81 now. So, after my second retirement, I started doing property management. I bought this 2,500 square foot luxury home in with the sole intention of renting it out. Now I didn't know how bad the HOA was, but when I became the owner, I soon found out. This all took place in 2 years' time. Karen would literally have a problem with everyone in the neighborhood. Trash cans left out? Fined. Loud music after 10 p.m.? Fined. Yard sale without permission? Fine. Removing dead plants and replanting without approval, you get fined. It went on and on like this. Now the community could run for the HOA board, but the HOA board chose the president. 6 out of the 10 members on the board liked Karen, so she always kept her job. Her husband was in the medical field, so he made a lot of money. It got to a point too where she was called Queen Karen in the neighborhood and her dishing out HOA fines. Now I used to go in person to collect the rent because the people that rented my house were good friends of mine. I did this for months. So, I would park my car by the front of the garage. I and my friends were having some music on, but it wasn't that loud. Queen Karen came over driving her golf cart and spoke. Queen Karen. Excuse me? Me. Yeah? Queen Karen. You have to turn that music down, it's too loud. I told her that it was 8 p.m. and that music that's even loud can be played until 10. She wasn't having it and demanded that I do so. Now my friends and I kept the music going and we were enjoying ourselves. She proceeded to get angry and fined me. Now, most people will just take the abuse and pay the fine. But not me. I went to the HOA board, contested the fine and won. From that point on, Queen Karen made it her personal mission to destroy me. She would witch and fuss about every little thing. I fought what I could, but I did end up paying for some of it. She also went after my tenants, which made things worse for me. I had a sit down with my friends one night to discuss the problem. When I parked my car, Queen Karen came over in her robe and said I have to park somewhere else. I did because I didn't want to start anything. We see her go back into her house and embrace a man that isn't her husband. We were being noisy, and we came to the conclusion that she was cheating on her husband. Spoiler alert, she was. My friends and I told Queen Karen's husband. I'm sure he did some investigation because 3 months later they divorced, and he was moving his stuff out. Now gossip said that Queen Karen got nothing because she was the one that cheated, and she didn't have a job. So, she wasn't entitled to the money. From this point on, Queen Karen had a massive decline in the quality of life that she had. She sold her car and got a cheaper one, and she adopted different dressing habits. But even after the divorce she never got a job, and she was still living somewhat better than everyone else. Fast forward to 1986. In February, Queen Karen and the HOA had been giving out fines for very obscure things and increased monthly dues. Having trash cans out a couple of hours early or after the trashman left would result in a fine. Targeting people that had older or dirty cars goes on and on. Me and the other people the community were sick of the crap that she and the HOA were pulling. So, at the next meeting, we made our voices our concerns. Queen Karen said that the community had been falling behind on repairs and that the dues and increase in fines were necessary, especially if people weren't maintaining their own property. She said that it was in the yearly budget report and that we should have read it. The other pissed residents and I go and read the statement. Now none of us read it because we take it as a junk mail and disregard it. But we read the whole statement cover to cover. Queen had increased the HOA budget 15%, and where that extra money was going remained unknown. We went over to her house the next day and demanded to know where the extra money was being spent. But she refused several times. She closed the door and went back to watching TV. We are filing a joint lawsuit to find out where the money was going. In June we found out. Cue the revenge. Queen Karen was living off HOA fines and dues. The increase is because she was running out of money. She still didn't have a job, so she embezzled from the HOA so she wouldn't have to get a job. She gets busted. We call the police for her embezzling the money. She was charged with fraud and extortion. The neighbors and I filed a joint lawsuit against Karen to get reimbursement as well. Because she had no money, so she had to mortgage her house to pay us all. She later went to federal prison for 6 years with no parole. Because she went away, no one was paying on her house. The bank foreclosed on it, and it was bought by someone else. So when she got out in 1992, she was homeless. Honestly, the majority of us didn't want to ruin her life like this. Had she toned down the excessive fines, we would have let her be. But she had to double down and steal from us because she didn't want to get a job like everyone else. The next one is titled, My Late GF's Best Friend, 29F, and I, 28 meters, have been sleeping together, now she's pregnant. I know PPL are going to call me stuff like a scumbag and butthole. Just wanna at least ask to please hold off on it because I already do feel crappy. Lost my girlfriend over a year ago, a few months before COVID lockdown. She was living with a heart condition and needed a transplant. Didn't make it though, and it messed me up. Still messed up actually. This is my first time ever losing someone that I love. Me and her were together since we were 20. Her BFF since high school was there for all of it, and she always understood where I was at in grief. Then COVID made it all even more isolating and depressing. We started chatting often to see how we're doing. Got closer. Pretty soon we were doing movie nights and stuff. Either I came to her place or her mine. We just needed that comfort. We were helping each other with our grief, but also like we became better friends than we were before. One night we got a high and had sex. It was my first time sleeping with someone else other than my girlfriend. We didn't talk for 3 weeks, and then I felt like I missed her, so reached out. We decided to pretend it didn't happen, but then next time we hung out we ended up kissing. And then that just led to sex on the couch. I don't know why we just decided to not acknowledge what this means. Only that it feels good and makes us happy. But continue doing it. It's going on 4 months since this happened, and she called me last night freaking out because she hasn't had her period in a while, so I went to her place. I bought a few pregnancy tests and they're all positive. She's going to the doctor this week, but she told me she's not sure she has it in her to abort. Which means she'll keep the baby, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. She says I'm the only guy she's been sleeping with, but if I feel I need a paternity test to confirm, then she's fine with that. I don't really have any doubts. I know she's an honest person and wouldn't lie to me, but that means I'm gonna be a dad. That means my late GF's friends are going to know we've been sleeping together, and no doubt her family will too. I've already been feeling guilty enough knowing that I am sleeping with someone my GF loved like a sister. Now there's gonna be a baby involved in the mix. Then we haven't even had an actual talk about what we are because we didn't want to acknowledge what we've been doing. It's a whole mess with everything, and it's like I can't focus on one thing at a time. It's freaking me out. I want to feel happy that I'm gonna be a dad because I know I wanted kids at some point in the future. I always hoped it would have been with my girlfriend. I'm sad, guilty and confused TBH. Not sure how I'm supposed to handle any of this right now on top of everything else. Is there really any right way to deal with this? A user in the comments said, I am so sorry for your loss, both for you and this woman. Sometimes the greatest tragedies lead to beautiful and unexpected life-giving experiences. If I were you, I would resolve to be a world-class father and the type of man your GF expected you to be. It's not easy, but there's great reward making lemonade from limes. Not everyone will understand, and they don't have to. It's all about attitude when you're faced with difficult circumstances. Good luck. Another user said, to be honest, I don't find this that surprising. Sure, you could have waited to get together with someone a bit longer than a year, but you were going to eventually be with someone anyway, why not with her best friend? Shania Twain fell in love with her ex-best friend's husband after she found out she was sleeping with her husband. He and her had something in common and comforted each other in a time of need, developed feelings and then married each other. Do you like this girl for real? If you're not using her just to fill a void in your heart, then I think everything will be okay. Of course, you will always love your GF who's no longer here, but she would want you to be happy and love again. If she was looking down on you from above, do you think she'd be mad? If I died and my boyfriend and BFF got together, I think I'd be happy that the two people I loved the most were happy and in love. You both grieved for a year. It's okay, and who cares what people say? The next one is titled, Update, my late GF's best friend, 29F, and I, 28 meters, have been sleeping together, now she's pregnant. Hasn't been that long, I know, just some new developments. First, thank you everyone for your support and advice. I really appreciate it. We talked all day yesterday and then today too, and it's been a lot in just a few days. She's decided she's keeping the baby and I told her I want to be involved 100%. She has her first prenatal appointment TMRW. She asked me if I wanted to come, and I said yes. Having time to actually sit down to process this part of me is weirdly excited. Initially all I felt was panic, then thinking of the fact that there's a baby that's part me in there, I don't know, it makes me feel happy. Gonna be involved OFC. It gets more complicated with the fact that there's feelings between us. I've let my mind go there, thinking about all our past interactions even before the sex started. How much I genuinely enjoyed her company and how she is as a person, not just because she was my girlfriend's best friend, but just how she is as a friend and person in general. Didn't let my mind go there before, but I know now that there are deeper feelings that I wanted to ignore. IDK if going in it was a smart move, but I decided to be open to her about it and confessed how I've been feeling. She's been on the same boat, except she knows her feelings for me are genuine. She's been talking about it to her therapist for a while, but didn't want to say anything since we were sleeping together and didn't know if for me it was just a physical thing. It was a super long talk, honestly. We didn't even notice how long our convoy was. Definitely gonna get back into therapy just to make sure I'm at my healthiest mentally for the baby and get ready to be a parent, then to just deal with everything that's gonna come out from this. For now, we want to take things very slow. Try a couple dates and see where things go. We're always gonna be in each other's lives regardless of what happens. We shared our first kiss. I mean, we've kissed many times before, but this the first one since acknowledging what's going on. Then today we had breakfast together. I feel happy and still guilty. Like I don't deserve this. I hope therapy is able to help with it. Reached out to my old therapist I was seeing for grief counseling after I lost my girlfriend and got an appointment coming up soon. The next one is titled, I Ada for possibly making my parents homeless? This isn't just me, it includes my twin brother. My brother and I, 17 meters, were an accidental pregnancy. For context, our oldest sibling is 37 and has a kid who goes to our high school. Our nearest sibling in age is 28. My parents always made it clear that we weren't supposed to exist. They were never abusive or neglectful or anything, but they were kind of cold our whole childhood. My brother and I will graduate high school in about a week and will be 18 in 2 weeks. My parents have told us that as soon as we turn 18, we will have to pay rent. Neither of us have jobs, and we probably won't be able to get jobs right now. I confided in my sister that I'm really stressed about this, and she offered to let my brother and I stay with her while we're in university, completely free of charge. I'm really grateful for this, and we're planning on accepting her offer. I told my parents about this, and they freaked out. I guess my mom was planning to move to part-time work and they needed rent from my brother and I to keep up with rent. They said that they have provided for us our whole lives, and we should pay them back now that we're almost adults. I mean, it's true. They have given us everything we needed for 18 years, and I really don't want them to be homeless if they can't afford the rent, but I don't know how I would even afford to live with them. Iata? Edit my brother and I both have some savings, so we could conceivably pay rent for a few months. I also feel guilty moving in with my sister, because she has 3 little kids and a cat to take care of, and I don't want to put any extra strain on her. None of my siblings have a great relationship with our parents, so my parents won't ask them for help. Edit number 2. I'm actually shocked by the support here. I've been talking it over with my brother, and we're going to move out as soon as we legally can. Thanks guys. A user in the comments said, NTA. Your parents are completely in the wrong. They have 6 children, 4 of whom are actual adults, and their life plan is relying on 2 not even 18 years old financially? That makes no sense. You do not owe your parents anything, to be quite honest. Whether or not you were an accident, you are their child, and in that regard, they owe you. You do not owe them by virtue of them having birthed you. If they need financial assistance, they should go to their adult children. Don't worry about getting a job. Worry about your education and your emotional well-being. Go and live with your sister and let your parents figure their own lives out. That's not your responsibility. Another user said, when I left my abusive ex, I was in college and my aunt and uncle let me move in with them, rent-free, for 6 months so I could finish and find a job. They had 2 kids and I basically became a live-in nanny while I was there. They didn't ask or expect me to, but it was what I could do to thank them for helping me leave a terrible situation. When I moved out and across the country, they came to visit me and kept saying how much they missed me, plus I have an incredible bond with the kids now. Go to your sisters and help out as much as possible, they will be happy and thankful to have you. The next one is titled, Update. Ada for possibly making my parents homeless? Hey folks, it's been like 3 weeks and many things have happened. I graduated high school, go me. I turned 18, and I moved out. I finally feel like I'm adulting, kind of. I moved in with my sister the day after my birthday, and I've been living with her for a bit over 2 weeks. It's been really weird. They do all of this stuff in her house that we never did as kids. Family dinners every night? Never done it once until now. My sister and her fiancé carve out blocks of time to spend with the kids. My parents never did that. My oldest nephew, he's 10, dropped an open can of pineapple in the kitchen a few days ago. I expected him to get yelled at, but my sister just helped him clean it up and told him to grab a new can from the pantry. That was weird. My parents were never that chill. When I was a kid I would see these perfect families on TV, shout out to Dinosaur Train LMAO, and my parents always told me that those kinds of parents didn't exist. That it was all made up for TV. Those real parents don't take that much of an interest in their kids' lives and interests. I believed them until now. In the past few weeks, I've seen my sister and her fiancé spend hours making model planes with my oldest nephew or rocking the youngest to sleep when she was overtired. That stuff never happened when I was a kid. My niece, she's 4, woke up in the middle of the night last week, crying about something. Instead of telling her to STFU and go to bed, my sister's fiancé got up and sat with her until she fell asleep. I guess I was just surprised that my experiences aren't the norm. Anyway, both my brother and I are doing really well here. My brother has been cooking a lot, he's going to culinary school, and everyone seems to really appreciate it. I've been spending time with my nieces and nephew, and I have played more Minecraft these past 2 weeks than I think I've played in my entire life. If anyone knows what Titanfall 2 is, please help me out. I've been an adult for less than a month and these children and their newfangled video games already confuse me. This is all just a very long-winded way to say thanks. If I hadn't posted here, I don't think I would have moved out. My savings would basically be drained, and I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. So, thank you. Now I guess it's time to see if I can figure out how to do an update post. Edit. Shout out to my sister for basically raising me for 12 years and also being an amazing parent. I could just go and say all this to her face, but there's so many stairs in this house and I'm lazy. Kalani, how many times am I going to have to say it before you accept that you're a good person? Every time I go to thank you for giving up space in your house for me and Cam, you say that if you didn't help us out, It would have been someone else. I get that you have strangely low self-esteem, as evidenced by your IATA post. But can you just accept that you're an unbelievably good person and move on so I can finally thank you? This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.